and welcome to Hey Hi Who Are You, the podcast where we get to know regular people who do cool and creative things. So today on the show we have Rien Bautista, a graphic designer and creator from Toronto, but originally from the Philippines. She has lots of really cool stories, so I'm really excited to have her on the show today.
That's
Hello, how are you?
good. How are you? Sorry, I pushed it back.
No, that's okay. 15 minutes is nothing. Honestly, it was kind of perfect because I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race while I was doing my makeup and I kind of forgot what time it was. You watch Drag Race at all?
I watched a few episodes with my sister. Actually, I think I watched a whole season, but I just kind of like watch it when she's watching.
Yeah, it's such an easy watching show. Like you don't have to really know what's going on to like, yeah.
Yeah. It's such a
I'm
feel-good show too.
It is. I'm literally like, for some reason, all of my confidence has been coming from that show recently. Like they like make everyone feel so good about themselves, and I'm like, yes, I'm also a bad bitch. So with graphic design, you
Mhm.
kind of did you when you started learning that, was it in university or did you start learning that yourself beforehand?
I started learning it before university. Like amateur-ish before university. Um, when I was really younger, I had like a fashion blog, like a personal style blog when the blogger or the blog fashion blogs were like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I was about like 14 and I started that fashion blog, which thankfully is not online anymore. Um, and I really I really don't remember teaching myself how to use Photoshop. Like I think I was super young and I don't remember like the process. So I think that's where it all started, where I would like take pictures of like my outfits and then make layouts and stuff on Photoshop. And that's like my introduction to graphic design. But
Right.
I didn't really realize that I want to get into graphic design till like only like a year ago or 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I've always said that I wanted to go into marketing, like marketing. I want to get into fashion marketing. I was actually working as a marketing assistant back then when I was in school, and then I just realized that my favorite part of the job was like the design part. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I got into it. I worked at Ryerson, actually, the school that we both went to,
Oh, yeah.
as a marketing assistant at one of their like incubators called the Fashion Zone. And
Oh,
because we
yeah,
were
that's so cool.
yeah, yeah, because we were a small team, like I did social media or like parts of like event planning and like really got my hands to like
Everything.
basically like everything.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I was designing as well, and I was making like social media graphics, like layouts and stuff. But then I also noticed that in school, my favorite like classes and projects were always design based. Really, I love layouts and stuff. That's always fun. Layout designing, especially like designing books and like magazine editorials. I really love that stuff. But I also love brand design. That's one of my love languages.
Like choosing the colors and the fonts and like designing a logo and stuff. Yeah, that's so exciting.
I find it so fun. I love like translating like more abstract ideas into like a visual translation. So
Yeah. Like
yeah.
how does this color make you feel, or like does this like font make it this brand look playful or like whatever? Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
so
yeah. When
cool.
I see like my, let's say, creative process, it's always like, okay, I have to follow like this steps, like execution, like iteration, like planning, like that. But it's also very intuitive, like
Yeah.
design, I think. Actually, art in general, like being creative, it's very intuitive.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, when you're saying like going through step by step, I remember Sadie saying when you guys lived together in Australia, she was like, when she first met you or first started getting to know you, she was like, my roommate is just so organized. Like she was like, she schedules every hour of her day. Is that what you really do? Do you do that every day?
Basically, I was worse when I was in school because there was just so much going on, like different
Yeah.
classes, different projects. Now I'm more chill, I think.
Okay, good. I can try to write a to-do list, but it doesn't do anything for me.
For me, it's just I need to know like that I have a plan, and it's okay if like we're not on schedule or like not like following the plan like strictly.
Yeah.
At least there's like a foundation. I
Yeah.
know I'm gonna get stuff done.
Yeah, something to check back on and
Yeah,
actually, yeah, no,
yeah.
fair enough. You grew up in the Philippines, but like I would literally never guess that because you just seem so at home in Canada, which is really cool. Because you only moved here like 5 years ago?
Like 6 years ago, yeah.
Okay,
And it's
wow.
funny that you say that I'm so at home with Canada. I struggled like moving. Like the move,
Oh,
that move was the biggest life change I've ever experienced in my life. And it was really, really hard. I think it's like the most difficult experience I've experienced in my life.
yeah.
Um, so growing up in the Philippines, I was born and raised in, no, I was born in Manila, but then I moved to the southern part, which is called Davao.
Okay.
And I lived there till I was about 15, 16, and then we moved here.
So right in the middle
Um,
of high school, they moved you here?
I
Oh
moved,
my gosh.
I started like second semester grade 11. So it was like really in the middle.
That's such a hard time to move too. I feel like that's when you really need your friends like a lot in high school. Like you need your best friend to be like your support system because high school's so hard.
So yeah, I moved here and then I had like a year and a half of high school and then I went to university.
Right. And
Mhm.
your whole family moved here? Like your parents and your siblings all moved here at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because I feel like a lot of people when they move from a different country, sometimes it's like, oh, my dad still lives over there or like
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever, which is nice that you guys all came over here. Was it because your parents got a new job here or did they just want to move to Canada?
It's because my mom remarried a guy who lives here. He's
Oh, okay.
Filipino, but he's been living here for like more than 20 years now.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Right.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Wait, so how did they meet? They met like, did he?
They met, so my stepdad is Filipino
Yeah.
and he was visiting the Philippines. And it's so funny because they had like lots of mutual friends, but they never met when they were younger or before like when they met.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how they met, which is cute.
That is cute. And so they just like, did he come and visit in the Philippines all the time? And then they just like were like, now we need to live together?
I don't really remember how it works, or how it like all
Just
happened.
sounds very romantic, like across the world romance.
They did do long distance for quite a bit. Um,
Oh,
but yeah.
God, long distance, like to me, long distance is like, 2 or 3 hours away. Think about like going across the world like Sadie and Dom did. I can't imagine doing that for longer than like 2 months.
Yeah, that's really hard. I
Yeah.
don't think I can do long distance too.
No, I
It's
feel like
hard.
it just I don't know, like the whole love languages thing, like all like the five different love languages, whatever, like quality time and whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like mine are so linked with like being together, like quality time and physical touch are like my like love languages. So like long distance is literally the opposite of that. I think I would just cry every day.
My love languages, I remember them being like quality time and uh I think it's like services. There's a services one, right?
Yeah,
Where
like
like people
gestures or
do,
something, like acts of service.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And physical touch was like zero.
Really?
I
Oh,
mean,
you don't like hugs or anything?
I do like hugs, but I'm not like a very affectionate, like physical person.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am very much so. Like off the bat, I'll like meet someone and if they're okay with it, I'll be like, "So, can we like hold hands now?" Even just
Sometimes I wish I was more like that. I feel like people who like are who have love languages who's like physical touch, they're just more like warm and like I don't know.
I guess, yeah, it's so interesting because like I feel like how like there's also what are they called? Like the astrological signs and stuff. I feel like love languages kind of fit in with those also. Like it's sort of all intertwines with all the different personality types that people have made up, which, yeah, like I feel like since I'm a Leo, I think like physical touch definitely fits in with the whole Leo aspect of things. I don't
Since I'm a
know.
Capricorn, we don't touch anyone.
You're like, no, get away from me.
Get away from me.
Okay, wait, back to so when you moved here, but you didn't become a Canadian citizen until like last year or something, right?
I think you have, I forgot like the minimum years requirement that you have to be living here. So when
Yeah,
I moved here, I was a permanent resident because my stepdad was already here and it was like a
right.
whole sponsorship thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then I think there's like a requirement for how many years. So 20, when did I become a citizen? 2019, I think, um, was like the year that we were like able to like apply and stuff. Or
Wow,
actually, we applied a year before we got the citizenship.
right. So
Yeah.
what's that process like? You have to do a bunch of testing and stuff, or like, is it weird and hard? I don't know.
It so you file like a bunch of paperwork and then you have to do this like citizenship test where you answer questions about like Canada and Canada's history.
Which is
So they
funny
gave
because I
us
bet a lot of Canadians don't even know that
it,
stuff.
it was super like a super easy test. Like it's like what's our national sport or like
Right. Okay. Fair
well,
enough.
but there were also hard ones, like historical ones. They gave us like a booklet to study like the history. I think it's also a way for people to test or the government to test like if you know how to speak English or French.
Right. If you can
Either
actually
or.
understand the booklet that they gave you,
Yeah.
like, are you able to kind of survive in Canada? But like, are you able to read and understand information?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, congrats on being a citizen. That's so fun.
You. I can't
That's
believe it. But now it's like when even if it's like almost like 9 degrees or 10 degrees, sometimes I feel like hot, which is crazy.
You're officially Canadian.
I
That
know.
should be on the citizenship test. Are you hot or cold right now? And you're like, I'm actually a little bit hot. And they're like, welcome.
Perfect. There's just like a winter stimulator or like a weather stimulator where they put like 9. And if you're cold, you're out.
Yes, exactly.
Is summer your favorite season? I feel like you're such a summer like person, or no?
I am a summer baby. Like I was born in the summer, so I do love summer because I love my birthday. I'm like a birthday hoe, as I would self-identify as a birthday hoe. I like will tell everyone and anyone it's my birthday. I'll be
I
like,
love that.
hello, it's my birthday. So yes, I do love the summer, but I also really, really, really love the springtime. Like spring is the best. So yes,
Mhm.
spring and summer for sure.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I'm such a summer person. Well, like, because I lived in a tropical country, so like I feel at home when it's hot.
True. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God. How like the first Canadian winter, you must have been like, the heck is this?
And it was I remember it being like the worst winter, like not yet, but like I remember people being like, this winter like is especially bad. Like it was so
I think that might have been the
cold and
year of the ice
icy.
storm, was it?
It
Yeah.
was.
I remember
Yeah.
that. That was a really
Just
bad winter. So that was your first winter.
being welcomed in this country with a bang.
It
Yeah.
was like testing you. It was like, can you survive here? It's like, this is the ultimate test. Oh, well, I guess we skipped right over. So you went to Australia for exchange, but because you were going to Ryerson for fashion
Fashion community.
communication. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So what was that like? Did you ever just like think about going into fashion design or was it always just going to be communication?
It was always going to be communication.
Yeah.
Ever since I was young, I knew that I've always wanted to work in fashion. Um, but
Ever
I
since the
also
blog.
knew that yeah, I also knew that I didn't want to make clothes. That's just not, I'm not a very like hands-on, like good at like with my hands, like people who
Yeah.
knit or people who like I don't know, make stuff with their hands. I always admire because I'm not one of those people. And
Yeah. It takes a lot of patience to like make a lot of ugly things before you can make nice things.
um and also like I'm not very good with measurements too.
Mm,
Like I mean, I still have to do it for graphic design, but like having to measure like oh, it's just more complicated. So I
yeah.
really knew that I didn't want to go into fashion design. So fashion communication was the perfect program. Like when I was reading it, um, when I came here because I had to quickly choose because I was already grade 11 and I had to like choose because in high school, like your classes were based on like your university path or whatever.
Yeah, which is so crazy if you think about it. You're like
I
15
know.
and you're like, what do I want to do with my life?
I know, yeah. And if it's like if you didn't take like I don't know, like psych, you can't do I don't know. I feel like it's so limiting.
Well, like, yeah, like you, everything builds on each other. Like, if you decided not to take art in grade nine, well, now you can't take art in grade 12, which means you can't get into this program or whatever.
Yeah,
Like that's like, so it's all based on your like 14-year-old decision, which is like,
which is so much pressure.
but so did you apply to a bunch of different programs or were you kind of like, Ryerson is the place for me?
Ryerson was my number one, but I applied to advertising at OCAD and also the design program at York, I remember.
Okay,
And
cool.
I remember I had to do an in-person interview for both OCAD and York. And I also had to do portfolios. I just remember like applying to university was so easy for people who weren't in like the arts. Like they were just like, oh, just send my grades, like just that's it. Like
Yeah.
maybe write an essay. But I remember I had to have like a checklist of everything because I had like portfolio for York, portfolio for OCAD, portfolio for Ryerson, essay for this, essay, interview. Like there's so much going on.
Yeah, and it's not like you can use the same portfolio for every application too, because each one, like I applied for fashion communication as well. Like me and Sadie applied together. And I remember like it was very specific what they wanted from
Yeah.
you. It wasn't just like send us some photos of what you've done. So it's like
Yeah.
so much work and you're still in school at the time while you're applying. I feel like 17-year-olds need more support.
Now that I'm thinking about like when you're in it, you don't really realize like how much you're going through or like what you're going through. But when you look back, it's like, wow.
So, what was your favorite part of being in fashion communication at Ryerson?
My favorite part, I think just the whole like university experience. I know like a lot of people, especially if you're creative, you're not really usually typically people don't like that like very structured like academic theory.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that like understanding and learning about like what really is fashion and how it's so much I don't know, it's like basically everything.
Yeah, well, like people kind of, I feel like with people who are don't really live in a fashiony world of any kind of think that fashion is like it's just clothes and it's just like not doesn't really matter, whatever. It's like just an aesthetics thing, but it's so much more than that. Like it's literally like you just said, everything. Like it's it's like the upholstery on your furniture. It's like the colors you choose. It's like how you present yourself. It's like so much history is built into fashion too. It's like so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And like I really like one of my pet peeves is when people like they belittle fashion or like the creative industry in general. Like when they say like I remember when I was younger, they would say like, "Oh, you're so smart. Like, why are you going into fashion? Like, what? What does that mean?"
Yeah, like you
And
think everyone in fashion is an idiot? Like
there's
so much that goes into it.
yeah, so much. And like I also hate how like people don't realize when they say like, "Oh, you're going into fashion," they think everybody wants to be a fashion designer, which is not the
Yeah.
case. Like fashion is like a multi-billion dollar industry.
Yeah,
There's
you
so
could
many
be very
jobs.
much on the business side of fashion too. Like you could be in anything inside of the
Yeah.
fashion industry. Like that's like if you say you're going into like the food industry, if people all assumed you were going to be a farmer. Like no. like, like that's
Yeah,
silly.
you could be like a fashion lawyer. I've met like I
Yeah.
also didn't know that existed, but of course it does. Like a
Yeah.
fashion lawyer, people who like represent fashion brands and like intellectual
Yeah.
property and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then when you applied for the exchange, was that just because you wanted to go to Australia, or was it because you really liked what the like school was offering in Australia, or kind of a mix of both?
I when I was young, I remember because there were like those fashion blogs and stuff. I remember following a lot of Australian fashion bloggers. Um, and I just remember just loving Australian fashion. Even up to now, I love Australian fashion. They just do because I feel like it's like really my style where it's minimal but different in like different ways. And as you know, I'm a very structured person. So even before applying to Ryerson, that was like the main thing. Like even before I started, I was already saving up for my exchange to
Oh,
Australia.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
So like you already knew you wanted to go in third year when you applied. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
like planning ahead.
I know. I wasn't even in university and I was like, I'm going.
Wait, didn't you have to do some sort of like internship or something in Australia?
We had to do an internship for school, like
Yeah.
for our program in general. We had to do 400 hours. I already like finished mine by that point.
So what was your internship the one at the fashion zone or did you have a different one?
I had two. One was at the fashion zone because for the summer, one summer I worked for them like full time and I just like used that as my internship hours.
Yeah.
And then the first one was for a brand called People's Product. I don't know if you've heard of them, but
No.
they're based in Toronto. They were started by two fashion communication students who already graduated, and they are like a sustainable, ethically made fashion label or brand that makes all of their clothing in India. And then they sell it here for Northern America, I guess. Yeah.
Cool. Are they still around? Like they're still running?
I think they are still running, but I think they're like right now, the founders are focusing on other things. Mhm.
So you were doing marketing or design for them?
I was the social media marketing intern, but like we were only like three people in the team, like the two
Right.
founders and me. So like the fashion zone, I just like did marketing, help event plan and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with social media marketing people, like I think people are like, oh, they're just on Instagram, they don't do anything. But it's like, no, actually, usually you're expected to do things kind of all over the company. Like,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
with smaller companies, they're just like, oh, can you give us a hand doing this and this? And you're like, I'm not trained in this, but yes, I can help. Like,
Social media marketing, like people, yeah, people think it's super simple, like just posting on Instagram and like, I don't know, building a following, but it's actually so hard. I really don't see myself in like social media marketing.
like in a lot of companies, like Instagram is like their kind of main marketing outreach that they do. So it's
Yeah.
like it's a lot is riding on this one person, and it's usually like a young woman, usually by herself.
And it's also like not just a you can't just like stick to like a 9 to 5 like hours.
No.
I remember
Yeah.
at the fashion zone we would like have events and because I was mainly the social media person. I feel like I didn't attend the events because I would be like tweeting what was said, posting stories, taking pictures of like people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the sad part about social media. But how I've been feeling recently is like I feel like I have to share everything or it didn't happen, which is like a
Oh
really
my.
sad, like I think I was kind of realizing that more and more, and I was like, that's really sad. Like yesterday, I caught myself, like this what happened to me last night. I literally was watching RuPaul with a beer and I was having a nice time by myself. And I was like, this is really nice. And then I like took a picture and I almost posted on my story. And then I was like, hold on. No one needs to know that I'm watching RuPaul with a beer right now. Like, no one cares, number one. Number two, that's just so random to even like, why can't I just enjoy what I'm doing? It's so
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
I think
Don't get me started. I could talk about this for hours. I don't know. I just feel I'm having a social media existential crisis right now because I feel like as a creative, it's an integral part of like how we do things now. Like if you don't
totally.
have an Instagram account, I don't know, I feel like you're no one in a sense.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and it's really sad that that's the case. Basically, everyone has to become their own like marketer now. Like you basically have
Yeah.
to be like, "Hey everyone, look at my stuff. Look at me all the time," or no one's ever gonna like hear from you. And I don't like that. It's very exhausting and it takes away from the fun of being doing
Creative.
the actual creative work.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you're doing a painting, you shouldn't be worried about making a reel of you painting. You should just be painting. But like
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
just do that anymore.
I recently read a book. I think it's why my social media existential crisis actually started or became like more intense. It's called Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport.
Okay. Do you recommend it?
Um, I do, yeah. I learned a lot from the book. He basically was saying how, like, if you really think about it, the benefits of social media aren't very aren't truly valuable. There are a lot of like value to it. Like it gives a lot of people the platform to speak and to raise like awareness on different issues or just like around somebody's work. But like people who say, just like everyday people who say like, oh, I use it to be more like connected to other people, but then you can use that time scrolling on your phone to like have a conversation, like an actual conversation with a friend, or
Yeah.
like be in a room like present with the people you're with. Also,
Yeah.
another thing is I feel like with the whole algorithms and stuff, I feel like it's so easy now for people to create the same things. I don't know if you've been feeling that lately, but lately I've been feeling like everything looks the same in a way.
Yeah, well, you get kind of stuck in an echo chamber. Like you see only like I feel like it's really hard to know what's actually out in the world right now because anything I follow, Instagram only offers me things that look like what I already follow. So I don't even know what the rest of the world looks like. I only know what things I like look like. So like I'm
Mhm.
just like in this weird bubble of like things that are like yellow and flowery and happy, but like that's not what the world is like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's actually like an actual like study and like theory behind that. It's called the filter bubble of how
Mhm.
like we're just all in our own little algorithmic bubbles.
Yes, we are. It's true.
Yeah.
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 I mean, that's kind of true in real life too, though, if you kind of think about it. Like, I feel like you only see and hear what you want to see and hear, and you kind of put yourself in situations where like I don't know, like I mean
Yeah.
it's more obvious on Instagram, but I feel like in real life it's kind of true too.
That's true. Yeah, that's actually, I never thought of that. Yeah, that's true.
Well, and like the people you hang out with are likely
Like
similar to
similar to
you,
you.
and then
Yeah.
you probably have like similar views, and you think everyone has those views, and then when you get put in a circle of people that aren't like that, you're like, what the heck?
But then I have like an existential crisis because like I feel like, oh, maybe I should just like leave like altogether. But like
But
I
then you
don't
kind of
know.
can't.
Pardon?
But you kind of can't, like we were saying, like you
I
sort of need
yeah,
it. But then
it's
like
really hard.
yeah, I go through phases of being like, should I, yeah, like exactly. Should I just delete it? Like, do I need
Yeah.
this? Like, why do I need this? But then it's like, but then no one will ever see any of the work I'm doing. And like, how would this podcast even have even one listener if I didn't have social media?
That's also
So,
the thing because I also like I love creating and it's annoying too because like you said earlier of how like it takes like we don't enjoy the actual activity by itself anymore. Like it always just has to be like something that's published or promoted. Like
yeah.
let's say I love making videos. I have a YouTube channel, but
Yes, wait, what's it called? Plug it.
oh, it's just my name, Rien Bautista.
Okay.
Go subscribe. um, shameless plug.
I actually
Like I
love your videos, by the
thank
way.
you. I love making videos, but I can never, and it takes so long to make one video. And I just like if I don't publish it or post it, I feel like it just goes to like waste, even though it
Yeah.
doesn't. But
No,
yeah,
because
it
like
feels
you
like that.
actually enjoyed making it. So like why like that should be enough. But then you're like, yeah, if no one sees this, then like does it matter? Or like does it almost feels like you should just delete it then if no one sees it. But like that's not necessarily true. It's like if
Yeah.
you paint a painting and no one sees it, it doesn't mean it's not beautiful. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And
Yeah.
it also doesn't mean it's not valuable, like you became like a better painter because of that
Because
painting
of
or
it. Yeah. And maybe you learned
yeah.
a new editing technique from making this video you made or whatever. Yeah.
Just like I feel like in general, like not just with creative stuff, but like with life, I feel like with when we post like stories and stuff, we kind of make these moments like disposable. They're only good in the 24 hours that people can see them.
Oh, that's so depressing.
I
I didn't think of
know.
it that way. I guess
So
I have like an
Yeah.
obsession with where like maybe I did kind of subconsciously think of it that way because whenever I post a story, literally like 9 out of 10 stories I post, I will save to a highlight. That's why I have like 100 highlights because I don't want them to disappear. So, which is funny because like I may as well just post the photo then because it's the same thing. But yeah, I am like a I have like a fear of losing things or like losing memories or like forgetting stuff. So yeah, like I'm like such a like I'm like a hoarder of memories.
That's so cute. That's actually really funny. My friend and I were talking about like because she never deletes her photos. What I do is I
Either.
transfer them off my phone to my hard drive like every year. So it's
Yeah.
always like starting fresh, but she never deletes it. She just has it backed up on iCloud. And then I was watching this video of this, he's a journalist named Johnny Harris, and how he said to remember your life is to delete photos. And I sent the video to her, and then she was like, how is that possible? But basically, what Johnny said was when we take like a bunch of pictures, like as studies have shown that like we remember more of like that visual, like what the visual looks like, but we forget like other
Like the
sensory
feeling or the smell
information.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Um, and it also makes sense when you take a bunch of photos, you just kind of forget about it. So what
Yeah.
he does is he deletes like most of his photos and just keeps like the most special ones, the like memories that he wants to remember. It's a
Huh.
really good video. I'll send it to you actually after.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I like that idea, but that also like makes me stressed because I don't want to delete anything. I'm like, I can't, I'm a little bit of a hoarder. Like my room looks organized, but there's a lot of stuff. And if you open any of the drawers, they're like stuffed to the brim with like memories. So it's like I can't I like the idea of minimalism, but I can't actually make myself
Execute.
do it.
I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. I still have a lot of stuff, but I don't like having a lot of things. Like
Yeah.
my friends, I always laugh at my friends because I'm not a big beauty person. I enjoy it, but like I'm just not really good at makeup.
Yeah,
And
same.
I always ask my friends, why do you need two kinds of blushes or like two like they always have like multiple things of like eyeshadows or blushes or like highlights. And I know it's
Yeah.
like different like colors and stuff, but some are like very similar. And
Yeah.
I don't like that.
You're like, have you seen Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah.
You know the scene where the main girl, like Andy, she's like they ask her which like blue belt is better, and she's like, they look the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's you. You're like, I don't know why you need different ones of this. And any makeup blogger would be like, Rien, no, they're
They're
completely different.
different. But then that's me with shoes. I'm
True.
like, I have so many like different black boots because they're all different.
Yeah, see, so
But
you
my
get it
mom's
from
like,
that.
they're all the same.
Yeah. Oh, the shoes made me think of you had your thesis project with your shoes that you designed was so cool.
Oh,
So you actually
thank
like
you.
learned how to make shoes, right?
Yeah, well, kind of a little bit, like an easier way to make shoes, I think.
Yeah.
So for my thesis, I made like a shoe collection based on basically the theme was trying to make Filipino like traditional shoes called bakya into more like fashionable, not more fashionable, but into
Like a modernized
yeah,
version of
like a
something.
modernized like collection.
Yeah.
So I went to a shoe like school in Toronto, but she actually moved like outside of Toronto, um, called Shoe Academy. And
That's
I
so
made
cool.
clogs. Yeah.
I
But
didn't
it was quite like an easy, it's not like actually making shoes because when you make shoes, it's like a whole process of like I don't know, different. Mine were just clogs. So it was just basically like a wooden thing. And then I just had to like glue the parts on.
right. And they were kind of those shoes you designed were sort of like I don't know the right word for it, but like they made of like straw kind of like that's what they sort of
Mhm.
looked like. Yeah.
Yeah. They were made of like Oh, I don't know the English translation, but it's called banig. It's like yeah, like sort of like straw, but a
Yeah.
different kind. Yeah.
Where can people like see pictures of them? Because they are so beautiful. I think I commented on like everything you posted about them because I was like, yeah, I'm so impressed with this.
Thank
Is it on
you.
your website if people want to see it?
Yeah, it's on my portfolio website, just rianbautista.com.
Right.
And then I also posted like everything, not everything, like the creative part of my thesis. So you can see like the branding and all of that, like the lookbook that I made. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, it was so cool. Like it looked so professional. Like I was anyway, I was like sitting at home being like, yes.
Thank you. I was so happy. I That was one of the like projects that I was really happy that I'm was like ahead and like very structured, because after like a week after my photo shoot or something, that's when like COVID all like hit.
Oh, so it's perfect timing that you got it
Yeah.
done. Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
I feel so bad because a lot of people from my program were like planning like big things. But then when COVID hit, they just had to like minimize their projects.
Yeah, because a lot of people were supposed to do like an installation or like a runway, and like none of them could do any of that. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
sad. We kind of skipped over your vlogging a little bit. So, like, what did you just start doing? I feel like you started doing that within like the last year or two, right?
I started, it was my quarantine hobby. I started, before I started YouTube, I just like practiced making videos like um, around the house, or I made a Mother's Day video for my mom.
Aw,
And I really enjoyed making videos. So in this summer, like 8 months ago, last year, um, I started a YouTube channel and it's
so
been
fun.
fun. Yeah.
I feel like again, like you're very good at making things like very simple, but like very polished. Like it's not like, oh, she just slapped together this video. Like the simplicity of it makes it actually look better. Like I feel like
Thank
videos look
you.
so official. Like I watched them whenever I remember to go to your YouTube channel, and like I don't know, they look like you could be paid to do them. Like they're very good.
Thanks. That's so nice. That's so nice. I really love like simplicity. That's one of like my design or creative art philosophies, or I don't know,
Yeah,
styles. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm more of like a, like I said, like minimalist than a maximalist.
Yeah,
Like,
no, for
yeah.
sure. I mean, we can tell from your background. Literally just white.
I know. I mean, the other parts of my room are more colorful, but it's kind of messy right now. So I was like, let's just stay with this. Let's add some greenery. Oh, here's my plant. But the thing is, I also like, I love color. I don't know, but when I look at the clothes I wear, they're mostly like black, white, blue. I'm trying to get into more color because like
Right.
color makes me happy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could even add like color just with little things like headscarves or like earrings and stuff.
Hmm.
And like, yeah, I don't know. You don't have
Yeah.
to go completely out of your comfort zone. Do you have like a specific era of fashion that's like inspires you? I feel like most people identify with like a decade kind of.
Um, that's a really good question. I I don't think so. For me, I
No?
don't have like a specific. I do love like the clean like lines of like the 60s, like the more preppy
Yeah.
look, which is coming back in fashion, which I'm really excited
Me
for.
too. The 60s is my favorite time for sure.
I mean, they're like funky prints and stuff, but like those like clean like A-line like skirts and yeah, I just love that. Yeah.
Totally. And like pencil suits and like I don't know, yeah. Oh yeah, the 60s is definitely my favorite. And like very mod like makeup. I want to learn how to do that so badly, like twiggy makeup. I really want
Yeah.
to try to learn to do that. But like you said, I have no idea what to do with makeup. So I have like one mascara, one blush, and like foundation, and then that's all I know.
But hey, that's like what's like trending now, or I guess the style. People are more like pared back with their makeup, I noticed.
True, like
Yeah.
less contouring, less stuff like that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
True. True. Well,
So we're
then
in. We're
we're in.
trending.
Yeah, we're on trend by accident. You were saying that your vlogging was your like quarantine hobby. What else kind of like did you not like learn or like whatever during like the pandemic, but I feel like everyone's experience has been similar, but also very different. Like, I
Mhm.
feel like everyone's feelings throughout it have been different. How do you, I don't know, how's the last year been for you?
Um, I agree with like how everyone, it's like this, we're all going through something, like we all feel the same, but also in different ways. I
Yeah.
get what you're trying to say. Yeah. Um, the first lockdown for me honestly was heaven. I'm such an introvert. I it was like it was so just blissful. I love spending time by myself. And then I have quite a lot of siblings too, so I didn't really feel quite lonely.
Because you
Um,
were living with them at home? Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, I feel like the first lockdown, I was just very like in my own space. And I also feel like because it was when I graduated, it gave me the time and space to like figure out what's next for me. And I feel
Yeah.
like not a lot of people get that when like regular normal life is
Just so
happening.
busy. Yeah. Like you don't really
Yeah.
get that space to just like sit there and actually like think about it.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm also the kind of person who like I don't usually just like sit there and think about it. Like I'm always like, let's go, let's do it.
Yeah.
So it was really nice. I also started meditating. I think that's a big thing too.
Oh,
I started meditating in the first lockdown, and that really helped.
do you
But
still do it
then,
now?
oh yeah, I do it now. I try to do it like at least 3 times a week. But I also tried to do like no pressure. Like sometimes I just like sit on my floor and just like not do anything.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Um, but then I feel like slowly, I mean, the first lockdown was blissful, and then I don't know, right now I'm just kind of like feeling like it's like dragging on. And I'm
Yeah.
starting to outgrow that like time and space of figuring out. And now I just want to like do stuff.
Yeah, well, because now you've had a year to like really think and plan and meditate. And now it's like, okay, now I want to use all that thinking and planning and meditating out in the world, but like I can't. It's like
Yeah.
feels like you're almost like spinning your tires in the mud, which like is such a frustrating feeling for like I think yeah, like we're both very much like doers. Like I think we both like having a plan and doing stuff and like if you don't like maybe for people who like to just relax, this is kind of nice, but like it's not nice anymore. I'm bored.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Like
yeah.
I feel like it was worse at the winter, maybe because it was the winter.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it just feels like I'm outgrowing, yeah, that space. And like I just
Yeah.
want to like, let's go, let's do this.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so what's your like for let's do this, what would be your thing that you're like really wanting to do that you can't do right now?
That's also a very interesting question because I don't know. It's just a feeling that I have.
Yeah.
Um, well, I think one of the things is I would love, like right now I live with my parents. Um, I would love to move out and like, I don't know, find like my ways as my own person.
Yeah.
But just right now, because like we're all working from home, it doesn't make sense for me to rent out a place and like be by myself, like away from my family when I
Exactly.
don't need to go anywhere.
Yeah. It's
Which is
such a
really
weird
sad.
time for like growing up. Like, not that we're not
Yeah.
grown up, but like this would be the time when we would be either like traveling after graduation or moving out or like moving in with friends or like doing all that stuff. And like none of that is really possible right now. So we're kind of just like weird baby adults. Like, like we
I
don't
love
really
that.
get to do the adulting yet because
I know.
there's nowhere to do it.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
I totally feel that.
I feel like this year it might, I mean, it might happen, like moving out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Well,
Mhm.
and like you've been working full time for Tiki's for like a bunch of months now. So I assume
Yeah.
like, yeah, like you're kind of set up for like moving out and whatever because you're like adulting in other ways.
I hope so. That reassures me. Thank you.
You work from home all the time?
Yeah. Like I've only
Oh,
been to the office like 3 times, and it's only for like,
ever?
yeah.
Wow. That's
Oh
crazy.
wait, do you mean like with Tiki's or like ever in my
With
life?
Tiki's, like
Oh
you've only
yeah,
been
you
there
with
three
Tiki's.
times?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So
It's
like do you know anyone at the office at all?
I know them virtually.
It's so sad.
I know. And every time I see them, it's like I know you, but like we haven't really like seen each other.
It's like a weird online friendship. Like you're like, I know so much about you and like we get along over the camera, but as soon as you get in contact, like in person, you're like, should we reintroduce ourselves? Like, it's so weird.
Oh, the whole virtual thing too is not very helpful because I'm like naturally a more quiet person. So it's hard for me, especially like in meetings and stuff. It's really hard for me to be like unmute, like, hi guys,
Right. You
how
kind
are
of have to be like,
you?
hello. Like you really have to grab the attention in a Zoom meeting because it's not like in person, you can kind of like insert yourself in a physical
Yeah.
way, not
Or like
like,
your, I don't know, like the body language of you being like friendly, it's not there. It can't be there.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like it even on a Zoom call, if you like lean forward, that doesn't necessarily look more friendly. It looks weird. But like in a person, that would look like you're like invested or like, or open. But like
Just
like
be more like expressive in like my Zoom
on
calls.
Zoom calls, you're like, oh hi, hello there. And everyone's like, what's
I'm
wrong?
friendly.
Yeah. Which like just then ends up making you look kind of crazy.
And I also don't you feel like we'll forget how to like act in person? Like sometimes when I'm going out now, I feel like it's so hard for me to put outfits together. I don't know, that may be like superficial, but it's so hard for me to get dressed. I feel like I'm out of practice, like I'm rusty in
Yeah,
a
literally
way.
my cousin sent me a thing that was like she was like I almost bought this book because I think I need it and the title of the book was like socializing 101 for children and she was like I almost bought this because I think I need it. I was like yeah, me too.
One of my lifelong dreams is my favorite animals are killer whales.
Oh,
And they have them in like Victoria, BC, and I'm just like, I want to see them.
they're so magical. Like have you ever been to BC at all?
I no, I haven't been to BC. I've only been to like Calgary and Banff.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
Nice. Oh, well yes, you need to go see the orcas. Oh my God. That definitely. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Just thinking about it, it's just like, I might cry.
Why are they your favorite? Just because they're so beautiful?
They're so I just love them so much. They're so beautiful and I just love how like they're like gentle giants and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I read a whole book about them and just the way that they live of being like a matriarch and like really being like social animals. I just love them.
Yeah. Do you have any pets at home or are you not a pet family?
We are a pet family except for the major decision maker, which is my parents, my mom. We all want like a dog or a cat. Um, but because my mom says she has too many pets now, aka us, she doesn't
Oh,
want
she
to
calls
get
you guys
one.
pets.
Yeah. She's like, I have a lot of pets. I don't need one more. Yeah.
How many
Um,
siblings do you have?
I have three biological siblings, so there's four of us, and
Yeah.
then two step siblings. But I live with right now I'm living with four.
Okay.
But I usually live with five. My sister, she went to the Philippines last like March. And she got stuck there. So she's still there.
Oh my gosh. Did she like how long was she supposed to be there for?
2 weeks.
Oh my God. And now it's been a year.
Yeah. Well, she's living her life. And yeah, she really loves it there. So
Okay, well, so it was a happy accident, sort of.
yeah.
Yeah, we had a very full house with the four kids, but then we still had like a million pets. So
Oh,
my parents couldn't stop us. We would literally bring animals into the house and be like, it's here. You can't throw it out. Like,
what are we gonna do? Maybe we
yeah,
should do that.
yeah, what are you
Just
gonna do?
bring a dog home one day and just be like, what are we gonna do?
The one time my parents went on a trip to Portugal and for their anniversary or something, and my grandparents were taking care of us, and me and two of my older sisters had like a really bad day, and so we were like, let's go to the pet store and just like look at the kittens and just have a nice time. And my sister was old enough, like she was like 18 or 19, so she was old enough that she could like sign off on an adoption. So we adopted a cat while my parents were away, and we brought it home, and like we were so happy, and my grandparents like couldn't do anything about it because they were like, well, I don't know what to do. And then yeah, my parents came home and there was just this new creature in the house, and they were like, we were already bonded to it because it'd been 2 weeks, and they were like, well, we can't get rid of it. But he ended up being the best cat we ever had. So they like a week later, there was like a photo of my dad on the ground like cuddling the kitten. So
So they were happy with the
they
cat.
were, yeah, well, they were mad, and then they quickly they crumbled.
I would love to get like either like a really big dog. A dream dog is like Alaskan Malamute. Have you heard of them? They're
Yes.
like super big. I
Yeah.
want one.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. But more realistically, I would get like an English bulldog or something.
Oh, yes. I really want a French bulldog, and I want to name it Stitch. Would you have any like podcast recommendations? I feel like I am just such a podcast listener right now, and I'm always looking for new ones. So I figure other people probably are too. Do you have any that you're listening to?
I really like ologies. Have you heard of
Yes, my sister listens to that all the time.
It's so fun, and you
Yeah.
learn so much
Yeah.
from her episodes. So I really like the podcast ologies, and this is super like out of brand or out of character, but I also like Tiny Meat Gang by Cody Ko and Noel Miller.
What do they talk about? I know who they are, but what's their podcast about?
It's just super, it's not stupid stuff, but it's stupid like bro-y
Bro-y
stuff.
content. Well, maybe that's just your like bro outlet so that the rest of your life can be bro free.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's true. Do you have any podcast recommendations?
I mostly listen to My Favorite Murder, which I talk about like way too much to anyone that knows me. Like My Favorite Murder, I'll probably bring it up like 2 or 3 times a day. But it's like 2 comedian ladies. They're both like in their like 40s and 50s. So like I just really like when older people like find success later in life. Like I think that's just like so exciting, and like gives everyone hope for not being like you don't have to be 16 and like some rising star. Like you can be 50 and find your calling later in life, or you can have like a different career, whatever. So like they were both comedians and like TV personalities like in their previous careers, and then they both just like really like true crime. So then they just decided to start a true crime podcast together as like middle-aged women, and it's just like so fun, and they always talk about mental health, and like it's just like literally it feels like I'm hanging out with my like best friends every time I listen to them. Another one I really liked is for like small business people or like any sort of creative, I would say listen to I think it's called The Collage Creative by Amy Smalls. She's like she owns her own yarn company. Her podcast is all about like just like small business owners overcoming adversities, and like just like really inspiring small business stories. So that one's really good.
Cool. That's so cool.
I was supposed to post an episode yesterday, and I didn't because I was in one of those moods where I was like, I just really want to be with my family, and I don't want to have to like be on my computer for hours editing. So I just like didn't. And I feel like that's okay.
Yeah. Lately I've been having a lot of those. And that's okay.
Yeah, like
I
don't know, like if it's a beautiful day outside, maybe go out and enjoy it. You don't have to get everything done
on your computer.
today. Whatever. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful day outside today.
It is. So. Maybe we should both go for a walk after this. That would be
nice.
Yeah. Anyone who's listening when this gets posted, go for a walk.
Good for your creativity, I heard.
It is. It definitely is. I always feel way better after a walk.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on here, Rien. I'm sorry I asked you so many months ago, and now you're finally on.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Yeah.
Because I think I wanted to start it in September when I first asked you, and then that was like literally the week of my breakup.
Oh.
So I ended up postponing and starting it in January. So
that's okay.
We're here now. Yeah.
But it's cool. I'm really happy that you started a podcast, and thank you for having me.
Okay. Well, happy Sunday.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Make sure to follow on Instagram and TikTok at heyhiwhoareyou.pod to stay up to date on new guests and new episodes.